Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Learn English Through Stories podcast. Today, we have a brand new original story that will help you improve your English listening, speaking, pronunciation, and vocabulary. This story is called The Mysterious Letter. As you listen, try to imagine every scene in your mind. Repeat the sentences aloud after the narrator. This is one of the best ways to improve your English naturally. Now, let's begin. It was a quiet Monday morning in the small town of Green Valley. The sun was shining softly through the windows of a little white house at the end of Maple Street. Inside the house lived a young woman named Sophia. Sophia was 24 years old. She worked in a small bookstore in the center of town. She loved reading books, drinking coffee, and taking peaceful walks in the evening. Although she smiled every day, she often felt that something was missing in her life. Every morning followed the same routine. She woke up at 6:30. She made her bed carefully. She brushed her teeth. She washed her face with cold water. Then she walked into the kitchen. She prepared a simple breakfast: a cup of hot coffee, 2 slices of toast, some fresh fruit. While eating breakfast, she looked through the kitchen window. People were already walking to work. Children were laughing on their way to school. Birds were singing in the trees. Everything looked peaceful. But Sophia whispered to herself, "There must be something more waiting for me." She didn't know why she felt that way. It was just a feeling deep inside her heart. After breakfast, she got dressed. She wore a blue sweater, black jeans, and white shoes. She picked up her bag, locked the front door, and began walking to the bookstore. The streets were busy. Cars passed by. People smiled politely. The smell of fresh bread came from the bakery on the corner. An old man waved at her. "Good morning, Sophia." "Good morning, Mr. Harris," she replied with a smile. When she arrived at the bookstore, her manager greeted her warmly. "Good morning." "Good morning." The bookstore was one of the oldest buildings in Green Valley. Its wooden shelves were filled with hundreds of books: adventure stories, history books, mystery novels, children's books, travel guides. Sophia loved every corner of the store. She spent most of her day helping customers. Around 11 o'clock, an elderly woman entered the shop. She walked slowly with the help of a wooden cane. "Excuse me," she said kindly. "I'm looking for a book about courage." Sophia smiled. "I think I know the perfect one." She walked to the back shelf and picked up a beautiful old book. The woman looked at the cover. "This is exactly what I needed." Before leaving, the woman looked into Sophia's eyes. "You never know when life will send you an unexpected message." Sophia looked surprised. "An unexpected message?" The woman simply smiled. "Yes. Sometimes one letter can change an entire life." Then she quietly left the bookstore. Sophia watched her disappear into the crowd. She couldn't stop thinking about those strange words. That evening, Sophia finished work and walked home. The sky was painted orange and pink. The air was cool. Everything felt calm. When she reached her house, she noticed something unusual. A white envelope was lying on the front doorstep. She looked around. No one was there. There was no stamp, no address, no sender's name. Only one word was written on the front: Sophia. Her heart began to beat faster. She slowly picked up the envelope. It felt old. The paper was slightly yellow. She unlocked the door, went inside, and sat at the kitchen table. For a few moments, she simply looked at the envelope. Should she open it? Who had left it there? Why was her name written on it? Finally, she took a deep breath. She carefully opened the envelope. Inside was a single piece of paper. Only one sentence was written on it: "If you truly want to change your future, come to the old library at exactly 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. Come alone." Sophia read the sentence again, then again, and again. There was no signature, no explanation, nothing else. She looked outside the window. The street was empty. The evening had become strangely quiet. She whispered, "Who sent this?" She placed the letter on the table. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe someone wanted to scare her. Or maybe it was real. That night, Sophia couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the mysterious letter. Every possibility crossed her mind. What if it was dangerous? What if it was a mistake? But another question was even stronger. What if it was the opportunity she had been waiting for? The next day, Sophia tried to focus on her work, but she couldn't stop thinking about 7 o'clock. She looked at the clock every few minutes. Time seemed to move very slowly. Her best friend, Emma, noticed something was wrong. "You look worried." "I'm fine," Sophia replied. "Are you sure?" "Yes." But she wasn't sure at all. She decided not to tell anyone about the letter. Some secrets had to remain private. Finally, 6 o'clock arrived. Sophia left the bookstore. She walked home quickly. She changed into a warm jacket. She placed the mysterious letter inside her pocket. Then she looked at herself in the mirror. Should I really go? For a moment, she almost decided to stay home. But curiosity was stronger than fear. At exactly 6:45, she left the house. The old library stood on the edge of town. Very few people visited it anymore. It had been closed for almost 10 years. The building looked ancient. Tall stone walls surrounded it. Large wooden doors stood silently under the moonlight. Old trees moved gently in the wind. Leaves covered the stone path. Sophia stopped in front of the building. She checked her watch. 6:59 p.m. Her hands felt cold. Her heart was beating quickly. The town behind her was silent. Then, the old clock tower struck 7. Dong, dong, dong. The heavy wooden doors slowly opened by themselves. A cold breeze came from inside. Sophia took one deep breath. "This is it," she whispered. She stepped inside. The doors closed quietly behind her. The library was dark. Moonlight entered through the tall windows. Thousands of old books covered the dusty shelves. Everything was silent. Then, she heard footsteps. Slow, steady, coming from somewhere deep inside the library. Someone was there. Sophia stood completely still. "Who's there?" she asked softly. No answer. Only silence. Then, a warm voice echoed through the library. "I've been waiting for you, Sophia." She turned toward the sound, but she couldn't see anyone. Her adventure had just begun. Sophia looked around the dark library. Her heart was beating faster than ever. The room was completely silent. She could hear only the sound of the old clock ticking on the wall. Tick, tick, tick. She took a slow step forward, then another. Suddenly, a small lamp on one of the tables began to glow. Its soft golden light filled the room. Standing beside the lamp was an old man wearing a long brown coat. His white hair reached his shoulders. He smiled kindly. "Welcome, Sophia." Sophia took a deep breath. "Who are you?" "My name is Mr. Benjamin. I have been the guardian of this library for many years." "But this library has been closed for 10 years, Sophia said. Mr. Benjamin smiled. "It is closed to the public, but it is never closed to people who are searching for their true purpose." Sophia looked confused. "I don't understand." "You will, please, follow me." Without another word, Mr. Benjamin walked toward the back of the library. Sophia followed him carefully. They passed hundreds of dusty bookshelves. The deeper they walked, the quieter everything became. Finally, they stopped in front of a giant bookshelf. Mr. Benjamin gently placed his hand on one of the books. Click. A hidden door slowly opened. Sophia's eyes grew wide. "A secret room?" Mr. Benjamin nodded. "Very few people have ever entered this place." Inside the room were hundreds of wooden boxes. Each box contained dozens of old letters tied together with blue ribbons. Sophia looked around in amazement. "There are so many letters. Who wrote them?" Mr. Benjamin smiled. "People from different times, different cities, different countries. They all faced difficult moments in life, and every one of them made an important choice." Sophia carefully picked up one letter. It looked very old. The paper was yellow with age. "May I read it?" "Of course." She slowly opened the letter. It began, "Dear stranger, if you are reading this letter, you are standing where I once stood. My name is Daniel. 5 years ago, I was afraid of following my dream. I wanted to become a doctor, but everyone told me it was impossible. They laughed at me. They said I was not smart enough. For a long time, I believed them. Then one day, I decided to stop listening to fear. I studied every morning. I worked every evening. I never gave up. Today, I help people every day. The greatest prison is not failure. It is fear. If you have a dream, protect it." Sophia slowly folded the letter. She felt inspired. Mr. Benjamin smiled. What did you learn? Sophia answered quietly. Fear can stop us before we even begin. Exactly. Would you like to read another one? She nodded. The second letter belonged to a young woman named Emily. Dear friend, I spent years trying to make everyone happy. I always said yes. I forgot my own dreams. One day I realized something.
You cannot pour water into another person's cup if your own cup is empty. So I learned to believe in myself. I started my own business. I became stronger. And today, I smile because I finally chose my own path. Never forget, your dreams matter too. Sophia smiled. These letters are incredible. Mr. Benjamin nodded. They were written by ordinary people, but ordinary people often create extraordinary lives. As they continued walking, Sophia noticed something unusual. At the end of the room stood a single black wooden box. Unlike the others, it had no ribbon, no label, no name, only a silver keyhole. She pointed toward it. What's inside that box? Mr. Benjamin became serious. That letter has never been opened. Why? Because it belongs. He looked directly into Sophia's eyes. To you. Sophia stepped backward. To me? How is that possible? Mr. Benjamin handed her a small silver key. I cannot answer that. Only the letter can. Her hands were shaking. She slowly inserted the key. Click. The box opened. Inside was another white envelope, just like the one she had received at home. Only one word was written on it. Sophia. She carefully opened it. Inside was another message. Dear Sophia, if you are reading this letter, you have already taken the first step. But your greatest challenge is still ahead. Tomorrow at sunset, someone will ask for your help. You will have only 1 minute to decide. Your decision will change 2 lives. Choose kindness. Choose courage. And never judge a person before knowing their story. Sophia looked up. What does this mean? Mr. Benjamin simply smiled. I cannot tell you. The future is a path. You must walk it yourself. Before Sophia could ask another question, the lights suddenly went out. The room became completely dark. A cold wind blew through the library. The shelves began to shake. Books started falling to the floor. Boom, boom, boom. Sophia covered her head. What is happening? Mr. Benjamin spoke calmly. Your time here is over. The library has shown you what you needed to see. But remember, the greatest lessons are learned outside these walls. A bright white light filled the room. Sophia closed her eyes. When she opened them, she was standing outside the old library. The building was dark. The doors were locked. Everything was silent. She looked at her watch. It was exactly 7:30 p.m. Had everything been real? Or had it all been a dream? She looked into her pocket. The mysterious letter was still there, and beside it, the small silver key. Sophia whispered. It was real. As she slowly walked home, one question echoed in her mind. Who would ask for her help tomorrow? And how could one simple decision change 2 lives forever? Tomorrow at sunset, someone will ask for your help. You will have only 1 minute to decide. Your decision will change 2 lives. Choose kindness. Choose courage. The next morning, Sophia woke up earlier than usual. The mysterious letter was still on her bedside table. She picked it up and read it one more time. Every word felt important. She looked out of her bedroom window. The sun was shining brightly. Birds were singing. The town looked peaceful. But inside her heart, she felt nervous. She wondered, who will ask for my help? After breakfast, she walked to the bookstore. She tried to work as she normally did. She arranged books on the shelves. She greeted customers with a smile. She answered questions politely. But every few minutes, she looked at the clock. Time passed slowly. At lunchtime, her best friend Emma noticed something unusual. You seem distracted today, Emma said. Sophia smiled. I'm just thinking about something. Emma laughed. You've been thinking about something since yesterday. Sophia wanted to tell her everything. The mysterious letter, the old library, Mr. Benjamin, the hidden room. But somehow, she couldn't. It felt like a secret that only she was meant to carry. Finally, the afternoon arrived. The sky slowly turned orange. The sun began to set. Sophia locked the bookstore and started walking home. She remembered the letter. At sunset, her heart beat faster. As she reached the town square, she heard someone shouting, "Please, can someone help me?" People turned around. Some stopped. Others kept walking. Sophia looked toward the voice. She saw a young boy, about 10 years old. He looked frightened. "My grandfather collapsed. Please help." Sophia looked across the street. An elderly man was lying on a bench. He looked weak. Many people watched, but nobody moved. Some people were busy, others were afraid. Sophia suddenly remembered the words from the letter. Choose kindness. Without thinking twice, she ran toward the old man. "It's okay," she said calmly. "We're here to help." She called the emergency services. Then she knelt beside the man. "Sir, can you hear me?" The old man slowly opened his eyes. "My chest. It hurts." Sophia stayed calm. "The ambulance is on its way." She spoke gently to the frightened boy. "What is your name?" "My name is Noah." "Don't worry, Noah. Your grandfather is not alone. You did the right thing by asking for help." Only a few minutes later, the ambulance arrived. The paramedics carefully helped the old man. One of them smiled at Sophia. "You acted quickly. Your help may have saved his life." Sophia felt relieved. As the ambulance drove away, Noah walked back to her. His eyes were full of tears. "Thank you? I was so scared." Sophia smiled warmly. "You were very brave." Then something unexpected happened. Noah reached into his pocket. He took out a small folded piece of paper. "My grandfather asked me to give this to the person who helped us." Sophia looked surprised. She slowly opened the paper. Inside was another letter. It simply said, "The final door opens only for those who choose kindness." Without expecting a reward, Sophia looked up. But Noah and the ambulance had already disappeared around the corner. That evening, Sophia returned to the old library. The building looked exactly the same. She walked to the large wooden doors. Before she could knock, the doors opened quietly. Mr. Benjamin was waiting inside. "I knew you would return." Sophia smiled. "I helped someone today." "I know. You made the right choice." "But how did you know?" Mr. Benjamin looked toward the shelves. "The library always knows." He led Sophia back to the secret room. This time, something was different. At the end of the room stood a large golden door. It had not been there before. Mr. Benjamin handed Sophia the silver key. "The final door is waiting." Sophia carefully placed the key into the lock. Click. The door slowly opened. Inside was a beautiful circular room. Sunlight shone through a glass ceiling. Thousands of letters covered the walls. Some looked hundreds of years old. Others looked almost new. Sophia walked slowly around the room. Every letter had a different name, different handwriting, different story. Mr. Benjamin spoke softly. "Every person who enters this library leaves behind a letter." "A letter?" "Yes. A message for someone they will never meet. A message filled with hope." Sophia looked around. So all these letters were written by ordinary people? Mr. Benjamin smiled. Exactly. They became extraordinary because they chose kindness over fear. He pointed toward a wooden desk. "There is one empty page waiting. It belongs to you." Sophia sat down. She picked up an old fountain pen. For several moments, she didn't write anything. Then she smiled. Slowly, she began writing. "Dear stranger, if you are reading this letter, remember one thing. Life changes because of small decisions. A smile, a kind word, a helping hand. I once believed that I was waiting for a miracle, But I learned something. Sometimes we become someone else's miracle. So never stop being kind, even if nobody is watching. One day, your kindness may change a life. Sophia carefully folded the letter. Mr. Benjamin placed it inside a beautiful wooden box. One day, he said, someone will read your words, and maybe they will choose hope instead of fear. Sophia smiled. For the first time in many years, she understood why she had received the mysterious letter. It had never been about solving a mystery. It had been about discovering who she truly was. Months passed. Sophia's life slowly changed. She became more confident. She smiled more often. She helped strangers whenever she could. She volunteered at the town library every weekend. She started writing stories that inspired children and adults alike. One evening, while walking home, she noticed a young girl standing alone outside the bookstore. The girl looked worried. Sophia walked over with a gentle smile. "Are you okay?" The little girl nodded. "I think so." Then she held out a small white envelope. "Someone asked me to give this to you." Sophia looked at the envelope. She smiled. This time, she already knew what it meant. She looked up at the evening sky and whispered, "Thank you." The wind gently carried the autumn leaves through the street. Some stories never truly end. They simply find a new person to begin again. Moral of the story: kindness is stronger than fear. Small decisions can change many lives. Courage begins with one step. Every act of honesty and compassion creates a better future. Sometimes, the greatest mystery is discovering the best version of yourself. Thank you for listening to The Mysterious Letter. Keep practicing your English every day. Repeat the sentences aloud, and remember, every new word you learn opens the door to a new opportunity.